Hello everybody, Lord Almighty here. Today is Sunday, April 13th, 2025, and I have made it here to one of my favorite little trout streams on this chilly spring day, and I'm gonna see if I can't catch some wild brown trout. Now this creek, while having a good population of wild brown trout, is also stocked with rainbow trout. And I'm sure I'm going to wind up catching a few of those incidentally, but my main target is the brown trout. So I'm going to focus on areas that are away from stocking points, and we'll see if the wild brown trout will outnumber the rainbow trout on the end of my line today. Although if the rainbow trout are all that's biting, I will gladly catch them too. The fishing conditions today are not perfect, but they're pretty good. The water is up from some recent rains. It's a little bit off color. I was actually hoping it would be more off color than it is, but it's not crystal clear, which is good. And we've got mostly cloudy skies, which is another good thing. Water temps are in the mid 40s, which is usually good for trout fishing. So overall, I would say the conditions certainly aren't working against me today. One thing I don't know is, I don't know how much pressure this creek has received in the past week. Last week was opening day of trout season. This is a somewhat popular creek, so I'd imagine it got at least some amount of pressure. So we will see if these fish have been put down. But I don't know, I've fished this creek before during the trout season, and you know, even though it does get pressured, there's usually at least some active fish around. So I doubt that these fish have been 100% turned off by the pressure. All right everybody, so here's where we are. I've been fishing for almost an hour with a spinner, and nothing, no strikes, no follows, have not seen a fish whatsoever. So I'm beginning to think that yes, this stream has been heavily pressured and these fish are pretty wary. So what did I do? Well, considering the type of angler that fishes in stock trout waters, if they're not fishing power bait, what are they fishing with? Well, spinners. So these fish have seen a bunch of spinners before, so I took that off, and I'm going with a presentation that's going to be a little bit more subtle, a little bit more natural. I put on the little tube jig on a 1/32 ounce jig head, and I am going to just run it through some of these nicer looking pockets here, and I'll see if that won't turn any of these fish on. Well guys, it has been over an hour, and I've worked from one stocking point up to another one. And I am absolutely shocked at how dead this place has been. So I think what I'm gonna wind up doing is just going to a different stretch and hoping that that one hasn't been pounded as hard as this one might have been. There's a couple of holes down below where I started that I wanna hit. If I catch anything out of there, I will show it to you. Otherwise, I will see you on the next stretch. Fish on. Saw him follow it. Whoops, get in the net. There we go. There's one of those concrete trout. Hit that Swiss swing. I had been getting hits in here with the tube jig, but they were just like nipping at it. So I switched over to something with a treble on the back, and I was finally able to get one to hook up. There we go. There's another one. He didn't nip at that. He hammered it. Another rainbow. Another small one. There we go. Oh, he's a little wrapped up. Get out of there. There we go. You are free. All right, guys, here we are at the next stretch. We're upstream of where I just was. I was able to get the skunk out with a couple of concrete trout at that last hole, but I really do want to catch some of those wild browns. And unless I can, I really can't consider this trip a success. So hopefully this spot has a few brown trout that are more active. Ooh, ooh, I just had a little trout swipe at this, and I think it was a brown trout. All right, so they're in here. That's good. Fish on. Socked it hard. Oh, he's off. That was a brown trout. That was a little brown trout, and I missed him. Dang it. All right, well, that's not a bad thing. We know now that there are wild brown trout around and that some of them are hungry. So I'll take that as a good sign. Not very good on the fish catching aspect, but it's a good sign. Fish on. He came up off the bottom to get that. There we go. There's our brown trout. There we go. All right. Nice wild brownie. About time. Been looking for you all day, buddy. Fish on. Rainbow. Okay. This is a little nicer looking than the fresh stockies. I wonder if this might be a holdover. Oops, and there he goes. Rainbow trout have no chill. Got that fish on the white curly tail. I had rolled a few more fish on the spinner, but they weren't committing. So I thought if there was something else I might fish a little bit slower, that might get a bite, and it certainly did. Fish on. I was just trailing this in the current. It's another rainbow in the net. On the white grub. Okay, there we go. Not a bad looking fish. Okay. Fish on. Wow, as soon as it went in the water, he nailed it. There we go. Nice brownie. That's a beautiful brown trout for this creek. That is a gorgeous fish. Big, colorful, fat, healthy. All right, there he goes. That's what I'm after today. Those are the crown jewels of this creek. Fish on. That's a rainbow. Okay. Oops, and there he goes. Those rainbows, man, they do not like to pose for the camera. Fish on. He's hung up on that log. Get off of there, buddy. There we go, he's off. Okay, another concrete rainbow. This one's got a deformed gill cover. Well, he should be all right. This is a pretty clean, well oxygenated stream. He got lucky when he got tossed in here, because most of them get tossed in less than favorable trout waters, shall we say. Fish on. Had to like wrap it around that log. We found ourselves a little bit of a honey hole here. Yeah, they're all stocked rainbows, but there's fish here. And if I can't catch the browns, I'll catch these. And off he goes. Not a graceful release, but he's free. Fish on. Looks like another rainbow. Yep, sure is. Oops, he's not coming out. That hook is in there pretty solid. Let me get the pliers. Okay, whoops, and he's gone. Tore my grub up, gotta put a new one on. But that's good. When the fish tear up the grub, when you catch enough of them so that you gotta replace the grub, you're having a pretty good day. Fish on. Another rainbow. Nope. Oh, and he popped off as soon as he went in the net. All right, buddy. You're caught. I'll let you go right away. All right, everybody, that is a wrap. Started out tough. I thought I was going to be in for a really, really rough day, but here at this second spot, the bite really turned on. I don't know if it was just there were more fish here or I found the magic lure or what, but turned into a pretty nice day of catching. Although most of the fish that I caught were the state-stocked rainbow trout. And on that point, I have an opinion. So we have this creek here that's got wild brown trout in it, but the state also stocks it with rainbow trout. I think that's a mistake. I think if you have a creek or really any kind of a body of water that has a significant self-reproducing population of trout, you should not stock it. And I know that there are arguments to the contrary. I think one of the chief ones is, well, you know, the fishery can't sustain itself, so we have to put trout in it to make it worth fishing. Well, who's to say that if you stopped stocking the trout in here, that brown trout population wouldn't get bigger, and maybe the fish themselves would get even bigger, because the rainbow trout are competing with the brown trout, and as you saw today, they are pretty aggressive. So there's a very real chance that these rainbow trout are eating a lot of the food in this creek, and it's keeping the brown trout population lower, and it's keeping the average size smaller. Now, I'm not a biologist, so I don't know that for sure. I'm just someone who has fished New Jersey his entire life and wants these fisheries to be as healthy as possible. So if you're of the opinion that a trout is a trout and you don't care where it came from and you just want to catch fish, that's fine. You're okay if you disagree with me. But as for me, I get much more satisfaction when I catch fish that were born and raised in the body of water that I was fishing. But that's just my personal opinion. Again, you can disagree with me. I'm not going to fight you, but I wanted my opinion to be known because I've been thinking about it for a long, long time. Another point I'd like to make is that I was out here fishing for about 4 hours today, and I did not see a single other fisherman. And to that point, I have an opinion. What are you guys doing? It's a gorgeous day and there's fish to be caught. Grab your rod, grab a tackle bag, and get out there. Go fishing, catch fish, have fun, enjoy life. If there was any nugget of worldly wisdom that I could offer you, that would be it. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next adventure.